It's like, why do I rush? Like, what is it that's, what's the fear if I do slow down? It's a certain kind of habitual thing, right? Like, talk about conditioned, Viviana used the word conditioned or conditioning in her question. What we do often or consistently, it's a good way to shape a habit. So, what we do consistently becomes a habit. And what we, habituate into, like, it just becomes a habit. After a while, it just feels like, well, yeah, that's just, who I am or how I am, right? Because it's just so normal, right? The habit becomes conditioned, and so conditioned that we believe that's just who I am or that's how it is. So it happens with things that we consciously practice, and it happens with things that we unconsciously practice consistently. And a lot of times with the patterns that we don't want, we are consistent. It's just a pattern that we don't want. So the same framework that we use to have the habits that we don't want, consistency, if we apply it to the things that we do want, it works as well. It becomes habit. Rushing around at some point probably, was habituated, it became conditioned. It's just like, that's just who I am, that's just how I am. It becomes part of our identity. Like, I know Viviana once was saying, I'm an action-taking motherfucker, which I like, by the way. I'm trying to adopt. But, if I believe like I need to be rushing to be productive or to be effective or to be useful, in other words, liked or loved, right? Like, so rushing equals productive, productive equals liked and accepted feels like I'm loved, for example. I'm just giving you an example of how the machine kind of, is wired or wires itself up. Therefore, rushing, if you take off all the middle bits and join a straight line to it, it's like rushing equals feeling loved. When I'm rushing, I was successful. And when I was successful, I got the love that I wanted. I got the acknowledgement. I got the approval. Right? So rushing had to be done because I needed to do more than other people. I needed to be top of the class or school or the grades or the medal or the whatever the thing is. And when I got that, then I got the approval. And when I got the approval, it felt like love, for example, right? I'm just giving a random example. So therefore, rushing equals feeling loved, right? It's this unconscious wiring that happens in our minds, like the engine, right? One bit joins here, this bit joins there, that bit joins there, that bit joins there. So therefore, that's how the engine runs, the machine runs. I would suggest, or worse still, like, if rushing is who I am, rushing equals productive, productive is who I am. So if I'm not rushing, then I'm not me. For example, just to give another example. If I'm not rushing, that's not me. Something is wrong. Right? Like, it's just so practiced that it's programmed, that it's conditioned. This is like, that's who I am. That's how I am. So if I'm not rushing, that's not me, for example. So I wouldn't want to be not me wherever I can. So I would be rushing, right? So there's a fear of like, whatever the wiring is, and I don't know what it is for you without having a conversation, like a two-way conversation. The mechanics of it, the actual engine and how it's wired, it doesn't matter, but the mechanics of it is like rushing equals something, probably something to do with your own identity. So therefore, if you're not rushing, it's a threat to your identity and who you believe you are, which underneath that most likely is wired to love in some way. So, because, we're all wired for love, right? So in some way or another, eventually. So that's why when you stop rushing around and you are experimenting with a new way of showing up, like, okay, if I didn't rush, could I be as productive or more productive? Is that possible? I haven't had that experience before. The other part of that is that it's not known, right? Like, it's a new thing, for example. you're used to rushing all your life. Suddenly you stop rushing. That's new. That's unknown. Stepping into the unknown. Right? It's like a shiny quote, but it's scary. We're all scared of it. No one really, at the end of the day, wants to step into the unknown, because you want some part of the known to show up in the unknown. And the moment there is any part of the unknown that is known, well, that is already the known. We want it to be predictable. We want a predictable unknown, as in like an unknown that we can control. And you can't control the unknown. That's why it's the unknown. And that's actually where our learning and our growth is. So maybe as you've slowed down and you find yourself, one, more rested, and two, therefore, perhaps because of that, or just because you've slowed down, you've allowed, you found that you can be more productive, let's say. So it's like, this is a new experience. I like it, but why is it scary? Why am I nervous about this? It's because it's new. Because there's a part of us that's like vigilant in the background, kind of going, are you sure you want to slow down? Because, rushing worked for you. This slowing down thing is new. Scary. It looks like it's working, but what if it stops working? So we go, maybe I should stop slowing down, even though it feels productive, even though I'm more rested and I get to be more creative and I get to be more productive when I'm rested. So there's some kind of like, the pieces are settling again in a new configuration within, like the I don't know, back in the day, did you ever play Tetris? 2D game, old school. The shapes, you have to like, so the pieces are like settling in a new configuration. Or jigsaw pieces, if you've never played Tetris. You should check it out. It's an old school game. I used to have it on my little, I think it was Game Boy and then Atari. Yeah, anyway, I'm digressing. The pieces are settling in a new configuration within. So that when the pieces are resettling, it's unsettling. It's scary. It's new. And that's part of growth. When we're expanding, it's an expansion. Part of expansion, like when a child is growing, they say growing pains. Your bones are growing, your muscle, your body's growing. When you have a growth spurt, it's not comfortable. It's not growing comfort. Growing pains. Right? It's normally uncomfortable. It's a settling, a resettling, which comes after an unsettling. Like you just, what's the other thing? With Christmas, you have like the globe, you shake it, and then it just starts to fall again in a new configuration, the snow globe. Kind of like that. Just like everything's stirred up for a little while. You're like, oh my God, this is scary. What's going to happen? Are the pieces going to land in the right place for me? I need control. Yeah. So that's normally what is in play, I would say. So what to do about it, even though you didn't ask, if I was to guess the question, would be to let the pieces settle, to let the discomfort, give it some spine, some spine. Time and space became spine. Give it some spine, everyone. Space and time. Must be the sunshine today. Give it some space and time for the pieces to settle.